Today's review is brought to you in collaboration with our friends over at thedjhookup.com. What's up, passionate DJs, and welcome. Today we are looking at a new standalone device. This is called the AlphaTheta Omnis-Duo, which is a mouthful, but it's also a standalone product from the company that you better know as Pioneer DJ. That is their umbrella brand, and they are launching this product under that name. Now, it's not entirely clear to me yet what the future is of those two names and why they're being made into distinct product lines. We'll talk a little bit about that, but for now, this is the product that they are launching with, and as you can see, it does have different kind of styling cues and things. It looks a little different than your typical Pioneer controller. One reason, obviously, being this kind of blue slate finish. So we're going to dive into this thing and talk about how it compares to the competition, the obvious one being the Denon DJ PRIME Go, as well as the Numark Mixstream Pro GO, both of which are battery-powered devices just like this one. This one claims to get about 5 hours of battery life, so we're going to test all that and see what AlphaTheta has in store right here on Passionate DJ. So the Omnis-Duo is an extremely portable, standalone DJ unit with a built-in battery that they claim will last around 5 hours of playtime. It's got a familiar 2 decks and a mixer with touchscreen layout, and it's on this sleek blue finish that they're referring to as indigo. It's a pretty modest size and weight. It's about 10 pounds. And it's got a nice minimalist design here with nice short stubby little controls and things, and this should make for easy backpack transport. Now, this has Bluetooth input and output, which is kind of interesting. This is a first for standalone DJ systems, and it's got some interesting tricks that we're going to talk about later in the video. Now, as far as music sources, you can play a USB stick or an SD card. You can also do Rekordbox performance mode by connecting your laptop, and Serato Lite will be coming soon. You can connect to that via USB-C, or you could use wireless play via CloudDirectPlay. Now, the obvious competitors to this product are the Denon DJ PRIME Go and the Numark Mixstream Pro GO. And you can get this for $14.99 from the DJ Hookup. Now, the DJ Hookup is the sponsor of today's video, which really pleases me because they're also the highest rated DJ retailer online, with thousands of 5-star reviews that you could go read right now. They offer fast, free shipping, 90-day returns, and financing options. The DJ Hookup is staffed with friendly, knowledgeable DJs who will help answer any questions that you have in the little chat bar down below. They're also our longest-running sponsor here on Passionate DJ, and they've consistently been one of our biggest supporters. So if you like to support the people that support us, then please buy from thedjhookup.com, because they sell DJ equipment to their friends. It's that simple. So as we look at the top of the Omnis-Duo here, you'll see that there's not a whole lot going on at very first glance. It's a very simple, straightforward design like you'd find in a compact Pioneer DJ controller. It's got a 2-channel mixer section here in the middle, and then the trim and the color or filter knobs are off here to the side. And then you've got your headphones queuing over here instead of above the faders, which I think is a pretty tidy way to do that. And over here you can control the levels for your headphones. Of course, you've got your faders here, which feel pretty decent. There's nothing particularly special about them, meaning they aren't Magvel Fader Pros or anything like that. But the buttons down here have a little bit of give to them, and they have a nice rubbery coating, but they have a definite clicky response, so you certainly know when you're pushing them. The jog wheels are actually really nice. They rotate nice and smoothly. They actually feel really good in the same way that the Flex 4 did. Now, I know that's a much cheaper product, but I do mean this as a compliment. They move very smoothly with little resistance, and they don't make any noise. Pretty good. Now, up here, you've got your mic controls with a talk over button right here. And then you've got your Bluetooth controls right here. We'll talk more about this stuff shortly, but you can see the button to pair your devices there. And then over here, you can actually have some control over the paired device. For instance, to start and stop tracks or skip them. As I often say, this is my favorite type of looping setup, the single knob encoder, which you push in to engage or disengage loops, and then twist to the left or right to make the loop longer or shorter. So this is a plus in my book. Overall, the build quality seems solid. I have no complaints there. All the inputs feel pretty good, including the jog wheels. Use with confidence. So let's take a moment to look at the screen here and kind of talk about a lot of the functionality that's actually on this device that you will find hidden behind the screen and the menus here. The one thing about this is it does not really follow the UI or design of any other like Pioneer DJ gear that you might be familiar with. It is very intuitive. I didn't really have to look anything up, but there are some things that are sort of hidden behind stuff. So, for example, your effects settings are out in this little slide out menu here. So up here at the top, that's how you control your beat effects, which are controlled with the knobs below here, and then your CFX, which is your color effects, are controlled in this little menu here. It pops out, and then you can choose your typical Pioneer effects, your space, dub, echo, crush, sweep, noise, and filter. And you'll find deck-specific things behind little slider menus as well. So if you click one of these, you can control your jog mode, whether it's in vinyl emulation mode or not. Your quantize settings and your slip mode, you can just quickly engage those things per deck. Your browse button is up here. You tap that, and it does bring you to a nice, easy-to-use menu, which we'll come back to here in a moment. But you can tap this waveform button at any time, and it'll get you right back here. Whoopsie, there goes my little duck. It'll get you right back to the waveform here at any time, which is nice and convenient. So you've got a few things hidden behind this, what you might call the hamburger menu, and behind this menu over here. So for example, if I tap on this, you can see your battery life, and there is a function on this controller or on this device called Eco Mode, which is supposed to save you some battery life. That basically, it kind of puts it in like airplane mode, where it disables all the wireless stuff and, turns down the brightness and stuff to get you some extra time. You can see all the other stuff that you can control in here. For example, they have a light and dark appearance here. So the light is nice because it's contrasty, but what I found is with the size of the screen that it can be a little cramped and busy feeling, so I found that the dark mode is just a little bit easier on the eyes for me, though I could see that coming in handy for, playing outdoors or something like that. Of course, you can manually control the brightness of your display here, and then you can control your wireless settings here, your Wi-Fi, and then your Bluetooth input and output, which is pretty fascinating. That is a first for a DJ-based device like this to have Bluetooth as an output option, so we will come back and talk about that in a moment. But for now, we're going to close out of this menu and go to the little hamburger menu here, and you will see a couple of quick and easy things. Once again, you can just get to the waveform by tapping that and it'll bring you back. But if you want to get to some additional settings, change your source of your music and your playlist specific, browser specific stuff, you can quickly access it here. But back here are some more settings. So for example, if you want to change the way that your mixer, your equalizer works, whether it's a regular EQ or an isolator, you can change to a mono split with your headphones. You can change all of your channel fader curves. And you can also change the waveform colors. So by default, it will be in light mode and blue waveform. My preferred setting is dark mode and 3-band or tricolor waveforms. I think that's a good amount of information for me while still kind of keeping with the minimalist theme of this thing and not being too hard on the eyes. You can also change your quantize settings and the speed that you're, when you hit stop and it kind of powers down that vinyl emulation. It goes, how fast that goes. Your mic EQ. And then there are some advanced settings here under the utility where you can get into things like really more specific, like your play mode, your auto cue level. Like this will be stuff that will be kind of your Rekordbox settings. Here's your attenuator settings for the master output and the booth output. you know, your language, the time zone, all that kind of stuff is kind of further back in these menus, stuff that you don't need to access as much. But again, as I said, this is sort of my favorite mode here, the tricolor waveforms with the dark mode. Once again, you do have that light mode, but I just think it looks a little bit busy, especially with some of this other stuff going on. But all in all, I think that the screen is pretty intuitive. If you want to record, you can just hit that button right there. You can see your full-length waveforms and your BPM data and all that stuff right there. That being said, I have some complaints about the screen. It's not about the quality of the screen. It's good. It's got good brightness and contrast. It's got good color representation. But there are a couple things. The first thing is, this bezel around the screen is deceptive on as far as how big the screen actually is. You can see there's a good half-inch border around the screen, which is okay, but when you first look at it, you might think that the screen is a little bit bigger than it is. And that brings me to my second point, and I hope that you can see what's happening right here, which is that there is some flicker and some text that's just not that easy to read. Here's a high frame rate shot of the waveform, so it's going to look a little exaggerated here with the flicker, but you can see how it's bouncing around and just kind of has a strobe effect. So for those who are new to the channel, you might not realize that I'm like a super retro gaming nerd, and so I sort of live in this space a little bit, and in my sort of amateur hobbyist opinion, it looks like non-integer scaling. So if you've ever turned your computer on and you had your flat panel monitor, you turn the resolution to something that's less than its preferred resolution, the monitor will work, but some of the text doesn't quite look right, some of the stuff doesn't quite scale right. It kind of looks like, you know, like the letter I might disappear if it's in the wrong place. And that's a very similar feeling to what I'm seeing here, this kind of shimmering effect. Perhaps this UI was designed with a different device in mind and then they scaled it down. Now, am I being nitpicky about this? Absolutely. This is not a horrible problem. It's not like jumping out at me as like, whoa, this is horrible. But, you know, when you're charging a 50% premium over the competition, you kind of earn the right to nitpick. It does keep it from having the sort of premium feel that it should have when it comes with a premium price tag. You can see over here on this side that you do have XLR outputs, which is great. Next to the XLR outputs, you have your booth output or your master 2. So that's one thing that's worth noting on this device, is that even though it does have a booth output, it is sort of a shared situation. So if you need to use RCAs to output your signal, then you don't have a booth output. But in most cases, when you need a booth output, you're probably connecting your master to the XLRs, so I don't think that's too huge of a deal for most people. Then over here, of course, we have our balanced microphone inputs and attenuation for that. And if we slide over to the other side here, you'll see that we have a USB-C connection for your laptop, and then there's one just for power over here, so props for them putting both of those in. You've got your SD card here and then your USB stick here. And you're probably noticing a problem here, which is that for such a portable device that you might be likely to, you know, put on your lap or something like that, as shown in some of the photos, you might not want like a long USB stick hanging out like this. So if that's what you're doing with this, I would probably recommend putting an SD card in there so that it sits nice and flush and you don't have to worry about bending this or breaking your port or anything like that. Of course, if you want to connect this to your laptop and use it to control Rekordbox or Serato, you would connect it right there. All right, so this is pretty cool. The Omnis-Duo has a Bluetooth output option. So I've got my little Bluetooth speaker here, and I'm just sitting in my kitchen, and I'm sending the master output straight from here wirelessly to a Bluetooth speaker. And of course, we're battery powered, so we're fully portable. That speaker can stay there, and I can turn the volume up, and you'll hear it over there. Now, using Bluetooth is a little bit laggy. There is some latency between what you do here and what you hear out there. So I'll do my best to demonstrate this. It's hard to show on camera, but kind of listen to when the fader clicks versus when you hear something happen on the speaker. So it's not horrible. It's totally usable. It's very similar to like mixing in a club and you have like a house system way out there and there's that little bit of slap back and stuff and you have to kind of compensate for it in your head and really listen to what's happening in your headphones. So for new or beginner DJs, that might be a little tricky to get used to that sort of latency. But for experienced DJs who have played in large venues like that, it'll just be sort of what you're used to. Now, Pioneer's solution to this is to offer you a wireless speaker called the Wave 8, and here's what that looks like. And this comes with a proprietary wireless protocol. What happens is it comes with this little box, and you can plug this little box into anything, and it will give you a very low latency, very quick sound, so that what you're doing here, you know, it happens immediately, and you can't really tell, you know, that little bit of lag. You won't really notice. But that will work with any source. That's not anything that's specific to the Omnis-Duo, but just a solution from Pioneer DJ that says, hey, if you want a whole kind of party in a box thing, then you can get this device and the Wave 8 speaker, and then you have a fully battery-powered, fully wireless, fairly high-quality, low-latency setup to play in the park or wherever you want. Okay, so let me see if I can describe this sort of awesome, sort of hacky thing that this Omnis-Duo can do. So, using the Bluetooth input as a source, you can actually do a thing called input playback, and basically what you can do is actively record whatever's coming through your Bluetooth input source into a deck, and then treat that deck as if it were any other track for the most part, meaning that you can manipulate it with the jog wheel or set cue points and all that sort of thing. What I'm going to do is restart my input playback here by hitting this little arrow button, and then I'm going to go ahead and hit play down here on my phone, which happens to be playing a YouTube clip. As you can see, it's starting to load a waveform right into the deck right in front of our very eyes, and as soon as that starts showing up, for as much audio as is loaded into there, we can go ahead and start playing the track. Now, if I were to stop this track, then it's going to stop recording in here, and therefore this waveform is going to stop going into there, and I won't be able to play the rest of the track. So this is a very interesting sort of feature that I'm not exactly sure of the use case for, because AlphaTheta presents this as a way to maybe, let's say, take a request. But some other outlets were reporting that, you know, maybe you could be able to walk up with your phone and say, hey, DJ, can you play this song? And then it would magically transport the song to the device. And that's not what's happening. You're literally capturing live audio input from Bluetooth that's still recording. And it's just going into deck 1 because that's where I told it to go. And so, you know, this is a very interesting thing that you could do, and it's fun to play with, especially for me as a nerd. I mean, look, I just played the Sonic the Hedgehog soundtrack off of YouTube and put it into a DJ controller. That's kind of awesome. But what is the actual use case for this? Because if somebody walks up to you and they say, hey, can you play this? Then you have to go, sure. Can you put your phone into pairing mode? And then you pair it to your controller, and then you say, now can you play whatever song you would like for me to play, and stand here for the next 4 or 5 minutes while it plays out. Please don't touch anything on your phone. I hope you have good reception. Let the whole track play out. Don't hit pause. Don't get any phone calls or text messages or notifications while this happens. So you can see my point. I don't see where this would come in handy in an active environment. But for playing around here in the bedroom or in the studio, it is pretty fun. So let's quickly talk about the names. For whatever reason, it's been decided to start branding products under the AlphaTheta name, which is Pioneer DJ's parent company. There was some early speculation that the Pioneer DJ name might be going away entirely, but the company has clarified that that isn't true. I'm not really sure what the line of demarcation is between these two product lines, however. It's all based on Rekordbox, and if the distinction was standalone devices, then the Opus Quad would have been released as an AlphaTheta, but it wasn't. I don't yet see any distinction between product class or target price or a logical distinction of any kind quite yet, so it remains to be seen what the strategy is with this breakout. So I'd be interested to hear your thoughts and speculation in the comments below, because as of right now, I'm really not sure what to make of it. And so we're left with the question of, who is this for? The promo videos released for the Omnis-Duo present this as a take-anywhere DJ system. You know, bring it to a hotel party, or have a few friends over and mix a set in the kitchen, or bring it to a cookout and connect it to a wireless speaker, and so on. It has a simple, if not exactly pro-looking design, but it does have XLR outputs, booth connections, and Pioneer's class-leading effects. It has some pro features, but it's not really pro gear. It doesn't have RGB backlighting, or really much visual feedback at all that isn't provided by the screen, which again has its own issues. And yet they are charging a significant premium over the competition. And that's the thing, isn't it? If the Omnis-Duo had been released in, say, December 2019, we would have all been shocked and amazed and maybe even impressed at the price. But the fact of the matter is that the PRIME Go came out in January 2020 for $1,000. And save for the cool Bluetooth features, which, yeah, they are pretty neat, and, you know, maybe some battery life, there's strong incentive to consider the cheaper options in this market. And if you're invested in using streaming services with your DJing, you're flat out of luck, unless you want to use this with your laptop as a DJ controller, which, yeah, that will work fine, but I'd suggest, you know, a DDJ FLX4 for under $300 at that point. Now, it might sound like I'm being harsh on the Omnis-Duo, and I honestly don't mean to be. The fact of the matter is that, yes, it's a great portable DJ device that does exactly what it sets out to do. You know, it's just that in this newly competitive space of battery-powered DJ gear, I don't see any one killer feature that justifies that price difference. It's just Pioneer tax, plain and simple. Now, some people are going to simply prefer to exist in a Rekordbox environment, and they will choose this regardless. Hell, that might describe me if I were in the market for something battery-powered. Some people will prefer the smart and simplistic UI design. Some people can't live without Pioneer effects, and some people will just like that it's a fun blue color. And, you know, I think those are all fine reasons to consider the Omnis-Duo. It's a sturdy, simple, but powerful standalone DJ system which lets you take your Rekordbox library literally anywhere. And so there you have it, folks. That is the Omnis-Duo. I have mixed feelings about this. I think it's a solid product. I know a lot of people have complained about the minimalist design and the blue and all that. I don't hate it. I think that the blue is a choice. Now, there might be other variants of this coming out in the future. I really don't know. If you kind of look at the URL and other places, Pioneer does refer to this as indigo, so that might indicate that there is some other variant or color coming in the future. But I think going with a minimalist design is the right choice. I think it will age better than something that looks terribly crazy. I'm glad it's not, you know, super flashy and all that. The blue, you could take it or leave it. In person, yeah, it's noticeably blue, but it's not going to pop out of the DJ booth and have somebody go like, what is that ugly thing sitting there? It's pretty inoffensive. As for the functionality and the price, that is obviously the conversation that we need to have with this thing, because, you know, this is a $500 premium over the obvious competitor, the PRIME Go, and you don't really get additional functionality. In fact, you're kind of missing some things, particularly the streaming functionality. When I brought this up with the Opus Quad, I had a few people say, really, do you use streaming? Do people use streaming? Yes, DJs are using streaming all the time. I know DJs using it in the booth, in bars, in active gigs. This is just the reality of the situation now, and for a device that's really geared towards being portable and sort of like throw a party anywhere and bring it to the hotel room or on the side of a mountain or all that kind of stuff, and it's battery powered and all that stuff, it just seems to be missing a very obvious feature for portability, which is wireless streaming from streaming services like Beatport and BeatSource Link and Tidal and so on. So that aside,
This is a great device that has all the important, professional connections. It's very easy to carry around. It's very easy to toss in a bag. They've rounded all these kind of controls and stuff, so it shouldn't catch on much. There's really a lot of thought and care put into it. It's just going to kind of be up to you whether or not it's worth the price, and if you like being in that Rekordbox-ish environment more than Engine. And with that, that's going to bring this review to a close. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to get an Omnis-Duo yourself, please once again go to thedjhookup.com and order yours today. Tell them David from Passionate DJ sent you. I will really appreciate that. And with that, that's all. Thank you so much, and keep on spinning.